You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
Hey guys, it's Sara Civian on the Toronto Sports Rush channel, part of the Bet Rivers Network. I'm joined by channel contributor and NHL analyst EJ Hradek. EJ, last time we caught up, you were headed to the GM meetings. I know it's been a minute. Do you have any good stories from the trip or takeaways?
I got to play golf. I mean, it wasn't the most exciting GM's meeting from a standpoint of league information. I mean, the biggest takeaway was the GMs looked, with the league office, the hockey operations group showed the GMs 52 or 54 plays that were goalie interference plays, and they wanted the general manager to look at them, discuss them, and then vote on them to see if the managers felt that the league was getting it right, and they agreed on 52 of 54 of them. So the league felt like, hey, we want to see if the compass is pointed in the right direction. That's the phrase they used, and they felt like they got the right response there because the managers voting, it wasn't all unanimous. I think there was only one or two that were unanimous, but for the most part, they felt like the league was getting it right. Now, that said, since then, we've had a couple of these goalie interference plays that have been very, more, they've been discussed quite a bit, let's just say. The Islanders and the Columbus Blue Jackets had one in particular that really, at the end of the day, could impact, whether a team makes the playoffs or doesn't make the playoffs. So we'll see how it plays out. But, I think for the most part, they're getting it right. But it's just a tough situation because people, fans who look at it, they have a bias one way or another. And these plays are all different and they all are a little bit, they're tricky to get right. They're subjective in some ways. And so I think we're always going to have situations where these plays are going to be, some of them at least will be controversial.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the Islanders situation? That was tough.
Yeah, the referee called it immediately and said it was a no goal. I would not have done that. I thought it was the contact was kind of incidental around the blue. It's one of those things, Sarah, that the thing for everybody to keep in mind, for fans to keep in mind, is when a player takes a path through the blue paint or into the blue paint, that's usually where you're going to see the goalie interference call and a goal washed out. And in that particular case, it was Palmieri came around the back of the net, and like if you view the blue paint or the crease as a silo that goes all the way up, right? His skate really never got into the blue paint. He didn't take a path into the blue paint, but his upper body kind of broke that silo a little bit with the help of Elvis Merzlikins, who came out and kind of pushed out, and the puck went back to the point. I thought Merzlikins had enough time to reset, and then Palmieri had moved 4, 5, 6 feet out in front and made just a great tip that I don't think under any circumstances would have been stopped. Now, I don't think that is part of their thinking, and I think also the fact that the referee, and it was a younger referee, immediately washed out the goal. If he had not washed it out, if he had signaled for a good goal, and it would have been reviewed anyway in the last minute of that period of regulation, I don't think there would have been enough there to overturn it. So I think either way, the referee's call was going to stand. In that case, I think I would have probably let that play go. But these guys get one look from the angle they are looking at, and there was some contact there, so he was quick to wave it off.
Yeah, I'd like to see the rules simplified a bit, like maybe a little clearer, like you're saying, with what's the intent, how every ref kind of looks at it a little bit differently. But if we could all just kind of consolidate that and have one thought about it, it might be easier.
It's tough, Sarah, because there is a little bit of judgment there on that play. Like, I like the fact that, just simple, if a player takes a path into the blue paint, then he is interfering with the goaltender. And I think it's cut and dry on most occasions. But there are times when the defenseman and the player get together, you get pushed. How much does he get pushed? These guys cheat. Let's face it. They're all cheating. They're all trying to get an advantage, right? So if I lean on you, Sarah, then you fall back into the goalie. Did I push you into the goalie or did you fall into the goalie? I mean, these are all tricky things for the officials. I do feel a lot of respect for these guys. I think it's really hard to officiate. And I think, again, these guys all cheat. Yeah. And so it makes it difficult for them to get it right. But I think most of the time they do. The times they don't usually are important times in the game. And, we're going to have these situations.
Right. And these days with video replay and everything, it's just kind of like we get to see plays and moments that we never got to in the past. And it's like refereeing is going to have a human error no matter what. And there are going to be things. There's a reason you log on the internet and it's everybody's debating about this. Even we're seeing it clear as day and having debates about it. So it goes to show you got to give the refs a little bit of credit.
A little bit. I mean, I like, again, they don't get them all right. Nobody does. Yeah. But think about it, Sarah. You're standing in a particular spot on the ice. You know how quick the game is, how fast it is. And these guys are big, strong guys. And as I say, they're all kind of looking for a little advantage. And the referee is looking through bodies, and he's got to make the call in that moment. Mm-hmm. I refereed one game in my life, Sarah. I never did it again. I never want to do it again. It's a really hard job. But again, we're always trying to get things right. And replay has changed it because, to your point, right, we see a number of angles. It gets slowed down. I mean, these guys get one look. It's good that we have it. They can lean on it now. There's probably some things they will continue, I'm sure, to try to refine it. Yeah. But that was the topic at the GM's meetings. And, they're doing, I think, very well with it. It's just everybody wants it to be perfect, and nothing is ever perfect.
Yes, and I'm glad at the GM meetings they're at least discussing it. But speaking of trying to get things right, it looks like the Leafs have pulled themselves out of a bit of a rut and have reclaimed the top spot in the Atlantic. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10, 3 points ahead of the Panthers and the Lightning. What have you been seeing and liking from them lately?
Well, I like it whenever you find ways to win. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, they played in San Jose the other night. They lost that game in a shootout. At that point, they have 2 overtime shootout losses to San Jose. Those points could end up being costly in the end. I mean, like we just said about replay, nothing's ever perfect, right? It's not perfect. These guys play 82 games. It's very competitive for everybody involved. And, it's difficult. Think about San Jose. They played very competitively against Toronto, and then they were awful against the Rangers and the Kings in their subsequent 2 games. So, go figure when it comes to things like that. But the Leafs, over the weekend, they played a really good LA team in LA where they almost never lose. They were down in the game. They found a way to come back and win. And then on short rest against an Anaheim Ducks team that is a fast team, a good young team that they really came back and rallied to beat the Rangers in overtime on, I think it was Friday night. Like, is a dangerous team to play at this point because of the speed and the youth in that group. And they were able to win that game too. So, for me, the fact that they were able to come out with 5 out of 6 points and that swing out west, I think that's what they were looking for. And now they come home, they get a couple of days and get ready for the Florida Panthers, and it's a good spot. The Panthers are playing on the second of a back-to-back. They play in Montreal. It'll be their 3rd game, I think, in 4 days for the Panthers. So it's a really good spot for the Leafs. We'll see if they can take advantage of it.
Yeah, you bring up the Kings, man. They have been on fire recently, and it's a good sign, obviously, when a team from out east like the Leafs can come in and almost sweep, but not quite. But for a fan that's just watching these Eastern games and kind of just really focused on the Leafs, how scared, if we're talking West, how scared should Leafs fans be of a team out West when we get to that point?
Well, they'll be happy, Sarah, if they get to that point. Yeah. I'm sure. Right. They will be thrilled if they get to that point. I think we'll be doing these every 30 minutes if they get to that point. Colorado, let's say Colorado, Dallas, Vegas. I mean, those are the ones that come to mind right away for me. Obviously, Winnipeg has had an unbelievable year. Their path could be a little bit easier because they're going to likely finish first in that division. They won't have to play both Dallas and Colorado. Mm-hmm. They'll likely play each other. And so that could be a tricky series. I mean, St. Louis is kind of a wild card right now because they're the hottest team in hockey. And, whoever one of these top teams, Vegas or Winnipeg, may end up playing the St. Louis Blues, which could be more than they bargained for. So I think, each side has got its own perils. I would say for the Leafs, the funny thing is, Sarah, in all this, we've talked about almost all year, you want to finish first. You don't want to have to play Tampa and Toronto, Tampa and Florida, especially back-to-back. You don't want to play them in the first round, then you don't want to have to play the winner. You don't have to play them in the second round, right? Well, guess what? If the Leafs win, they may get the Ottawa Senators in the first round. The Battle of Ontario against a team that will have no pressure on it at all. All of the pressure will be on the Toronto Maple Leafs to win that series, and they have trouble with Ottawa. Ottawa's got a really good young team. They got a good goalie. they are a handful. So I don't know if there's any good path for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I guess that all they could do is just win their games, see where they finish, and then we'll go from there. But I don't think there's any really beneficial path. The only beneficial path in the East that I see is the Washington Capitals, who will play the 8th seed, who will be a team that has struggled to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, we talk about paths and leverage and sneaking and cheating, but it really is just the Leafs have to win it hard. Like, that's how they're going to get to the final, if they can finally just play an honest game. And it looks like they're doing that with their defense. And we bring up goaltending, okay? So here's a stat for you. With Joseph Woll's 25th win of the season over the Ducks, he and Stolarz are the first 25-15 win duo in Maple Leafs goaltending history. Has this team finally figured out this goaltending thing?
Well, we'll find out in another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, where we're April 1st today. So the playoffs start in like 18 or 20 days. That's what we're going to find out, I guess. I'll be curious. I guess it lines up for Stolarz to play against Florida on Wednesday, but I think it's, it could go either way down the stretch. It's good to have two choices, two options. They hope both guys are healthy and playing well. It's been a good year in terms of, when Wall was struggling with his injury issues, Stolarz took the job and ran with it. And then when Stolarz went down with injury, Wall came in and has been really solid. I think both guys' play over the course of the year has fallen off a little bit, and I think that was to be expected, kind of regressing to the mean a little bit. But I think it is good that they have the two options, and we'll see what Craig Berube does down the stretch. But I guess for the Leafs, just focus on the game coming up against the Florida Panthers. There's so many things to concern yourself with, right? We're just talking about it, right, Sarah? Like, I think for them, they just got to focus on playing well against Florida on Wednesday night. And, another good thing, Steven Lorenz ended up scoring an important goal the other night. He came over from Florida. He's a big, strong guy that can be a good fourth-line player for you. I think the numbers I saw is he had 7 goals, and 4 of them have been game winners. So, those are the kind of contributions, if you're going to have a playoff run, you're going to need to get.
Doesn't he strike you as that classic fourth liner that's going to score that random goal in a playoff series that actually matters? And the Leafs have been so bereft of that in the past.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? He's got something else going for him too. He's been part of a Stanley Cup championship team. Now, he didn't play in all the games for Florida. He was in and out at some points. They had a pretty deep roster. Remember, they brought in Kyle Oposo late in the year. He was in and out. But at the end of the day, that's a little extra, that somebody who has been part of a team that has won it all, understands his role, which is another thing that's important, and he's a big, strong guy that skates well enough for his size. So, I think it was a smart acquisition. These are the little pieces that you put together with your group to try to get over the hump. So we'll see. He could be a really helpful player, and just the fact that he's seen it, he's been there, he's had the cup over his head. I mean, he understands what it's all about, and I think that probably doesn't hurt you in the room.
Yeah, he's also just a great guy, great family. I interviewed his dad once, and his dad just started sobbing how proud he was of the kid. I'm like, because he made his NHL debut during COVID, and his dad would go to every game and just like stand there, and he couldn't do that. And he's from the Toronto area, so now he gets to go to all these Leafs games, cheer his son on. Like, that's the dream. And I think they need those good vibes.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't know how any of these parents do it, Sarah. Like, for me, if my son was playing in the National Hockey League, I'd be probably crying every game. I'd be like so excited every game. I don't know what I would do. So those are all great stories. And, people all the time have asked me about, like, hey, hockey guys are great guys, and, they're really the best athletes to deal with. And, I'm not going to judge athletes in other sports, but I would say this about the hockey players. I just think, because, they asked me, like, do I have any kind of theory on why it is that way? And the only thing I could say about it is, if you're going to if you're going to make it all the way to the National Hockey League, you have to have so much help from your family and from those around you. Because as a little boy you can't get equipment and get to the rinks and be part of all the things you need to do as a young child. And so I think, it's kind of the old story. It takes a village, right? I mean, I think a lot of those. I think the family's backgrounds in most cases are pretty strong. And when that's the case, you develop, you have pretty good children. So we'll see. But, Lorenz is a good story, and we'll see if he can bring some of that juju to the Leafs.
100%. I'm going to ask you this now, and it might change as we inch closer. But if you're
Okay.
Berube, are you at this point on game one of the playoffs starting Wool or Stolars?
I'm probably starting Stolars just based on the way the season has gone, but I don't, that's just personal preference for me. Maybe it's because I'm a Jersey guy now and Stolar's a Jersey guy. I don't know. It's pretty close. I think Stolars was the goalie until he got hurt. He earned that job and then he went down. Wall played very well. I think it is a luxury at the end of the day. And I think we'll see both guys. And I'll be curious to see what, just as you are, Sarah, just as the fans are, what Craig Berube is in his heart, because these guys are pretty close. Wall came in and played well last year in the playoffs, but he ended up getting hurt and he was unavailable for game 7, as we remember, in the first round against the Boston Bruins. So I would likely go with Stolars based on where things are at right now, but this is a great last, 8 games for the Leafs to see, where the guys are at, and whoever is playing the best and is the healthiest will be the guy that starts.
Yeah, speaking of which, we talked about Austin Matthews' struggles throughout the season, but he has really picked it up recently. He looks like his old self. He's scoring at a clip we're all used to and comfortable with. And how much does that truly impact the team overall?
Big time, big time. I mean, listen, your best players, it's the old saying, right? Your best players have to be your best players. I mean, I think all players have to play to their capabilities is a better saying, really, because they all do. But like the capabilities of Austin Matthews, it's a high ceiling, right? It's a high ceiling for Mitch Marner, for William Nylander, for John Tavares. Like these guys all have to play well. And Matthews is the captain now. And it is something of note, right? This is the first playoffs that they go into with Austin Matthews wearing that C. And so it's a little something different, and he's playing well right now. Hopefully he's going to stay healthy, and, that's great news for the Leafs. I mean, when you win a Stanley Cup, you don't win a Stanley Cup when your best players are playing poorly or they get hurt, right? Like, that rarely happens. You have to be so deep for that to happen. It almost never happens. So, for me, Matthews playing well right now is a good sign. Tavares has been playing great. Nylander's scoring goals. Marner's been really good all year. They've added some help to their defense. They're deeper in goal, as we've talked about. They've got some size and some grit to their group. They're getting a little bit more now in terms of secondary scoring. We'll see if Max Domi can amp it up in the playoffs. A guy like that, that's why you have him. You're hoping that he's going to be able to bring you a little bit more in the playoffs. So it's going to be a challenge no matter where it goes, whether they get Ottawa the first round or Tampa or Florida. But, Matthews playing well is something that really needs to happen. And he has been excellent over these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you love to see it. And we talk about your best players being your best players. That was kind of the difference in the measuring stick game the last time the Panthers and the Leafs played. And the Panthers had some good guys out. And now you look ahead, the Leafs have to play them twice this week, starting with Wednesday. What would you like to see out of the Leafs at this time to kind of pass the measuring stick?
Well, you want to win the game. I think you got to take away the middle. I mean, the Florida Panthers, Paul Maurice always talks about them playing to their identity, and their identity is pretty simple, is that, they dump the puck in more than any other team in the league, and they force you to dump the puck in more than any other team in the league. So you know how the game is pretty much going to go. And if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, take what's there. If you have an opportunity to carry it in and make a play, you do it. But most of the time against the Florida Panthers, you're not. So I think it's almost like a game of tennis when you're playing a baseline, or just hitting the ball back, that mental challenge of repeatedly doing something over and over the course of 60 or 65 minutes. I think that, try to limit your errors, play well in the neutral zone, take what the Florida Panthers give you, win battles, one-on-one battles against the Panthers. They have a ferocious forecheck even without Matthew Tkachuk. They're gonna try to hem you in below the dots. I mean, I just think you got to win your battles. You got to play smart. I think, don't try not to take too many penalties. And if you do, I think last time that was the difference. And I think in both meetings this year, the special teams have been the difference in the games. I think the Leafs, that's one concern I have when I watch them, is their penalty killing. I don't care where they sit in the league standings right now. They're not at the top. They're not at the bottom. But the bottom line is, as you get ready for the playoffs, they have to take away the key area in that house. They have to protect that house area in front of the goal. They can't allow passes through the seams. You saw last time they played Florida, Sam Bennett had 2 goals from in tight. That just can't happen. So that's one thing for sure. Don't take penalties, and if you do, you've really got to protect that net front area. If the Florida Panthers are going to score, you got to make them score from the outside. You can't give them that inside area because they will kill you in there.
And how important do you really think it is for them to win? I mean, I don't know, at least one of these games.
I think it's important. I mean, it's not the end all be all. I mean, I've seen teams lose, get swept in the season series and then win in the playoffs against the same team. But I think it's important for them to try to win, especially this is a good spot. I mean, they've come home. Now, I know first game back from a trip is tough. Coming back from the West Coast is tricky. But at the end of the day, the Florida Panthers are playing their third game. They played Sunday afternoon. They're playing Tuesday. It'll be their third game in 4 days. It's a good spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Take advantage.
All right, EJ, any other thoughts on the Leafs before they enter this brutal stretch? And then I'll let you go.
Well, I mean, just like I said, take it one at a time. It's the old cliche, but just try to do the smart things. I mean, don't beat yourself. That game against San Jose, that was kind of a crazy game. And I don't think they had enough respect for their opponent, and that's never a good thing. And San Jose played very well in that game, and the Leafs let them play well in that game. I think you get back to the basics, get back to the smart play, take away the middle, be good in the neutral zone, all those little things, because that's how you win playoff games. It's details. It's details. If you take care of the details, the moments that you have opportunity with Matthews and Marner and Tavares and Nylander, if you take care of the details, those moments when those guys have a chance to strike will be the difference in the game. But if you don't take care of the details, none of that other stuff matters. So they've got to be good at the little things, and I just think they've been working on that. Keep working on it over the next 8 games, and we'll see who they play. But I'll tell you, that first-round series against the Ottawa Senators, who saw that coming? I mean, if that happens, that is going to be – I don't know what to say about it. That'll be a nasty series where the Toronto Maple Leafs will carry a large weight on their shoulders.
The people need the Battle of Ontario, I think.
Yes. Well, listen – there's no fun either way for the Leafs, right? Because we've mentioned the options. None of them are good. But we could have a Battle of Ontario in one playoff series in the Atlantic, and then the Battle of Florida with also the Kachucks. Or I guess, Matt will be playing in the other series, so that won't be it. But still have a Battle of Florida, which would be nasty.
Yeah. Either way, this is going to be an insane playoff. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
That Atlantic path, Sarah. Whoever wins that, God bless them.
Not for the week.
No.
Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you next time, guys.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.